Burton Edward Feldman, May 3, 1926 to January 10, 2003 was an American professor of English. He spent much of his early life in Troy, New York before enlisting in the Army in 1945. Achieving the rank of second lieutenant while serving as a field artillery commander. While working on his Master's degree at Columbia University, he married Margaret, Peggy, Mary Gildia in 1953. Feldman worked for a brief period in 1956 for United Productions of America, helping write episodes of Gerald McBoing Boing, and was also employed to conduct research on storylines in the public domain that could potentially be adopted into cartoons. He then moved on to the University of Chicago to both teach and work on his Ph.D., which he received in 1965. During his time in Chicago, Feldman studied under Leo Strauss, a political philosophy professor, and became friends with Mircea Eliade, a Romanian author and scholar of religion. After leaving the University of Chicago, Feldman and his wife spent 2 years in Europe and Turkey teaching for the University of Maryland. After returning to the U.S., Feldman arrived at the University of Denver in 1965. While teaching at the University of Denver, Feldman undertook his professional scholarship in earnest. Richardson, Jr., Feldman published The Rise of Modern Mythology, 1680–1860 in 1972. The book explored the use of myth in the Western world and how it was used in literature and society from 1680 to 1860. In 2000, Feldman published a history of the Nobel Prizes entitled The Nobel Prize, A History of Genius, Controversy, and Prestige. Feldman worked on a book tentatively entitled Fame and Glory, explored the idea of notoriety and the seeking of recognition in literary figures, both authors and characters. He also wanted to write a sequel to The Rise of Modern Mythology, 1680 to 1860, that would update it to modern day, but the project was never completed or published. His poetry was published in a number of different journals over the course of his life, but was unsuccessful in getting a book published. Feldman retired from the University of Denver in 1998 and died from cancer in Denver, Colorado on January 10, 2003. At the time of his death, Burton Feldman had been working on a book that was part fact and part historical fiction that chronicled the friendship of Albert Einstein, Wolfgang Pauli, Bertrand Russell, and Kurt Gödel in their declining years. The book was finished and published in 2007 under the supervision of Peggy Feldman and Catherine Williams with the title 112, Mercer St. Einstein, Russell, Gödel, Pauli, and the End of Innocence in Science.